Welcome to J.ill, a production of iHeartRadio.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Peace and love, y'all. Jill Scott presents J.ill with my sister friends,
Aja
and Lyrical. And I'm Jill Scott.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hello, darling. How are you? I'm feeling kind of spicy. I didn't get a lot of sleep. Working is good. Working is good, especially when you love what you do. But I'm a little, I could use a belly rub and a good little nap,
Yes, come on, belly rub.
Yes, that feels like, it feels like it'd be the right thing to do. You don't become an iconic woman in any industry by only taking naps all the time,
Like the opposite. It's like the opposite, yes.
Yeah, it's quite the opposite. You got to put in a whole lot of work. You got to put a whole lot of guts, a whole lot of passion, a whole lot of energy into what it is that you do. Oftentimes we talk about singers, and there's singers with these beautiful voices. They could do anything with the thing. And then there's singers, like a Janis Joplin, if you will. Mm-hmm. All guts and grit and gristle and blood and,
My daddy called it screaming, but yeah.
And that too.
Because sometimes a scream is necessary.
Sometimes it is necessary. Just like that work, just like that soul-bearing portion of the show that counts always. As an artist, there are entertainers and there are artists. Entertainers, this is my opinion anyway. I think that entertainers entertain the people. They put on the show, they practice the moves, they change the clothes, they change the lights, they do the thing. And I love to be entertained, so it's not even a thing. I'm not trying to diss anybody at all. And then you've got these flat-footed, I don't know what to call it, just the soul bearers that make a difference in your vision, I'm all over the place, but what I really want to talk about is iconic women in the music industry for whatever reason. If it's because, they've been incredible entertainers, like a Diana Ross, because I she's the boss.
She is. The original, she's like the original, I was going to say the original B, but just in the sense of like singing and acting and doing it all.
TV shows and producing and introducing new artists.
Introducing new artists. Woo, people don't give her credit for that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. She definitely brought out the Jackson 5, like they're one of the biggest groups of all time. There's a room full. There's a mountain full of powerful women.
In front and behind.
In front and behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
We talk about it. It's funny. We talked about having this conversation earlier, and I was thinking of like, who to you is iconic? And the person that came to my mind is somebody who I've been following my whole life as a radio girl. I actually worked for her. I've actually been fired twice from her radio stations, and yet and still, I still think it's important to say her name because she is one of a few. Actually, she's a one and only.
One and only.
Her name is Kathy Hughes. The only Black woman who has multiple radio stations. At some point, she had radio stations almost in every major city. That's now matriculated into not just a radio station network, but TV, but
and digital.
Can you imagine? And digital. Can you imagine the battle? I mean, actually, you don't have to imagine the battle because you see a small piece of it in Talk to Me with Don Cheadle, as they hint at, J.ill Ejiofor's character is Dewey Hughes,
her husband.
Is the husband.
Well, her husband at the time.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, for those of us who grew up in Washington, D.C., we remember, WHOL when we were little.
MMJ.
Yeah, right. And when we were little, and they would be in a trailer right over there off of
H Street, right?
H Street. And you could actually drive by and see Kathy Hughes doing Sunday Morning Joy. On Sundays, you could drive by and see her hosting the gospel music show every Sunday. And not knowing and understanding, obviously not foreseeing, but even then understanding that she was putting the platform and the pavers down for what was going to become such an iconic businesswoman, and that she's played every role in radio. To watch a woman as a little girl be a radio personality and then ascend to where she has now is like.
And may I add, Asia, a hella black lady, is in the sense of what she said out of her mouth. This is a woman who had a morning show every day with Dick Gregory. Okay. Okay. But yet, and own radio station. That's black as hell. You can't get no blacker.
Right. You're like, and I'm still going to work.
Oh, that's black ass.
That's black. That's black.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
If you just, if you miss part of this, we're talking about Kathy Hughes.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
You need to know the name. I mean, you should know the name if you know, for the Oprah Winfrey's, there are the Kathy Hugheses of the world. It's only one, though. That's crazy. It's still on one. Yeah.
Still only one.
Predates Oprah.
Yeah. The first radio job I ever had at 12 years old. And that trailer ended up evolving into an actual storefront radio station. Remember when radio stations had a window?
Yeah.
And you could walk past and wave at that person that's on the air right now. And they shout you out, hey, girl, I see you out there in that window.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In D.C., WHUR still has that. I always love that at Howard, that they still have the window.
Mm-hmm. That's so endearing. And it breaks down the wall.
It does. Because we're in another space, right? We talk about how important it is for Black people to be in all spaces.
Right. Indeed.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that more than anything, that when we see Black women in charge of things, right, we have places and spaces that we're used to seeing Black women run. And it's important for us to know that those same skill sets go everywhere, and that they can be taken everywhere. And honestly, in my mind, to think about the amount of sexism and racism that she's had to experience over the years is humbling, to think that you can have a career this long and still maintain her company, because that's another thing. And one thing you see even with some of the big, Black men in media is that they've eventually had to, or decided to relinquish their companies to larger parent companies, and she just has not done that.
And also, Black radio is dying. She is one of the last people standing. Shout outs to this opportunity to do podcasts, but somebody had to go out of business, right?
This is true. This is very true.
That's the thing about America, guys. I thought a monopoly was illegal.
I can't even, we dealing with so many monopolies as we speak on this podcast right now. Many. I don't know which. Jill, I mean, you talk about companies that own billboards and all kind of media outlets.
What are we talking about?
Guys, I just thought that was a legitimate question. Or
it is a very
No, it is. No, what we were saying is that not only is it a legitimate question, but there's so many implications. And that's why it's so complicated to be Black in this country right now, be woman in this country, be any kind of marginalized person in this country, because so many, you have to interact with so many institutions that make it more difficult for a Kathy Hughes to exist, that make it more difficult for a Jill Scott to exist. It is it is a very interesting kind of, parasitic existence, is that everything is kind of built around this thing. So it's a lot. Yeah, you're right. A monopoly is illegal. But at the same time, too, what we have is, corporate warfare. And if you think about that, who's going to fall at the bottom of that, it's real easy to figure out who. And if it's a Black woman-owned media company, ta-da!
Hello.
In a medium that is no longer modern.
Yeah.
But the fact that she is still there, even under those circumstances.
The fact that she was there and is there, but was there at all.
Oh.
Very male-dominated, very white-dominated industry. I believe Dr. Cosby owned a radio station at one point.
Well, Stevie still does.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
Yeah.
What is their KJLH?
Yes, because love, joy, hope. Yeah, joy, love, happiness. Bam. Boop.
And we're definitely appreciative of that. But we're talking women today. We're talking about women in this industry, in the music industry, that just have pioneered and opened doors and are iconic to us for, multiple reasons.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Powerful, influential Black women in the music industry. Well, give me one of yours.
I feel like that my choice is slightly unsung, for lack of a better word, but definitely not going to be surprising based on what I do. So my husband and I sing in a singing group. If you're listening to this and you don't know that, we've been doing that for 22 years, almost 21 years, singing as a duo. And from the very onset of us doing our music, people just jumped out there and said, "Oh, y'all gonna be the new Ashford and Simpson."
Yes.
I said it.
And, listen, right. Come on now. Who did? Who did is the question.
When you gonna do solid?
But I never thought that we were deserving of that, number one, because of just the vast, vat of talent between the two of them, not just as performers, but also as writers and producers.
Hell yeah.
So, and that is what really, that's the tee-hee-hee.
Yes.
That right there, that's the value that we're talking about here. And that's why I want to talk about Valerie Simpson as a woman who I think is such a powerhouse in the evolution of rhythm and blues songwriting that never gets mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest songs you can think of, when you think of Motown, how could you not think of Ain't No Mountain High Enough? How could you not think of Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing? How can you not think of these tunes? But what you don't think about is that the person behind the composition and the music and the production is one Miss Valerie Simpson. And this is not to take away from her partnership, because it was really a heavenly partnership, because no one, and you can fight me, no one can write a lyric and can write melody and lyric.
Like Valerie Simpson.
No, like Nick Ashford.
Oh, like
melody and lyric, Nick Ashford.
Okay.
Nick Ashford was the lyricist in the two of them. Not that they didn't exchange. Right. Not that they didn't exchange different roles, but his main role was writing the lyrics. And so there was a big story, obviously, between them about how he wrote I'm Every Woman.
Oh, wow.
That he wrote the lyrics to I Am Every Woman. And so they tell a fabulous story about this. It's on the internet. Yeah, I ain't got to tell it. It ain't my story to tell. But y'all could go and listen to that story.
You ain't gonna give us the remix, Asia. Come on, man. Come on. You know we listen to this podcast right now.
She basically told him he was struggling with it. And she was like, listen, you need to sit down and get into your inner woman and think like a woman and think like women think and try your best to get into that whole situation. He was like, he sat quietly and tried to get into his best mode. And he wrote like the quintessential. So to me, but at the same time too, and I know we're talking about women, but we'll take a little sidetrack real quick to talk about lyrically Nick Ashford. Oh my gosh. He said,
and now I'm thinking of the lyrics. Go ahead.
I don't want to say this is either Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing or it might be Ain't No Mountain High Enough, where he says, I know you could make a man out of a soul that didn't have a goal. This man knew how to say a thing in a tune. So my reason why I'm bringing this up is that because him being the lyricist and them assuming that it was Valerie Simpson who was the lyricist when she was the composer.
Break that down. Okay,
she was the composer.
Hold on, singing, writing, ladies. What that mean? I don't understand because I thought that was the same thing. I'm just speaking for the people. I know the real answer, but just in case I don't, what you talking about, Asia? Because a composer.
Composing means when it's time to write the song, the person who sits down and writes the chords, the person who sits and does.
So she is the reason that we have on I'm Every Woman. That the way it starts, like that's
the string
Valerie
arrangement.
Yes,
Valerie Simpson.
Yes, all these fingers.
All the fingers, honey. You better give all of, girl, you better put some respect on this woman's name. Do you understand me? Let me tell y'all, I'm not even done.
Okay.
Not only did she write these songs, did she write the music to these songs? These are the same songs who literally just 2 days ago, I'm watching This Is Us, and child, a whole commercial comes on, and once again, the Walmart commercial is playing what? Her music.
What song?
I think it was Ain't No Mountain.
Okay.
But again, this is to this day.
Yeah.
This music is not just only recognized within its genre, but outside of its genre, commercially, every way possible. Her composition. And this woman has been writing since 17, 18 years old. When she met her husband, she was only 18, 19 years old. Which, of course, is deep to my heart. Because I also met mine at the same age. So, bottom line, so their story is very, very close to my heart.
Ashford Simpson.
Honey, I love them. I love them as people. They're amazing people, and they've been lovely to us. And she has been amazing to us.
She had, to y'all. Can you call her Asia?
I was really just being an asshole. Like I don't like the idea of the new blah blah blah. The person is.
Oh yeah, I don't like the new either.
I don't
right?
like the new blah blah blah.
No, they're the only. They're the only. She's amazing. But let me say this also. Honey, and legs.
Yep.
Legs and shoes.
Yes.
Legs and shoes.
Yep.
Legs and shoes. Shoes and legs. Legs and shoes. Shoes and legs. Okay, so last thing about her. And you can fight me because I don't care. I fight. She's the inventor of the remix.
What was the first?
Okay.
Which one?
She took Ain't No Mountain High Enough, her and her husband took
and did Solid Rock.
And re-recorded the song with an entirely new arrangement.
Because that's how
with
powerful
Diana Ross.
Hold on.
And created a whole nother #1 hit with it.
They were also writers on The Wiz.
Yes. They're old school Motown writing duo. They were they were part of the second wave of writers. They were very young. They came in after the Holland-Dozier Hollands and that kind of thing. But they were still there during the same time. They were just much younger. But they've written amazing. So I believe that was the first major remix to me. Not the same as, like, let's say when you have a jazz standard and people sing a different type of jazz, different, takes on a jazz standard. This was a producer-driven moment. And I honestly don't care if anyone agrees. She's amazing. She's a genius. She is a genius.
Girl, we agreed with you an hour ago.
Yeah,
what you talking about?
Not a diva. I'm talking about anybody listening. Not a diva. Not a diva.
Mm-hmm.
Not a diva, a genius.
Genius.
Put some respect on her name.
Got it. It's there.
I wish you all could see Aja's face because she's sitting, but she put her hands on her hips, her head cocked to the side and everything. She's like, put some respect on her name. And in the quiet you saw was her body organizing itself for a fight. like you're gonna get one.
People listening that you can't even see. She talking to y'all, people. She talking to y'all.
Yeah, I'm just talking to y'all out there. I want all the smoke.
That'll be Kindred the wife on Instagram. Just if you got some smoke, don't bring it to the J.ill podcast.
Speaking of smoke.
Oh, talk about it.
All right. The woman that is my iconic woman in the music industry is Ma Rainey. Homegirl's name is Gertrude. Okay.
Honey.
Oh.
Okay. That's where you start.
That's where you start.
That's where you start. When somebody's name is Gertrude, it's about to be some fire. Ma Rainey, this goes way back, y'all. She was born in 1886. Yeah.
Wowzers.
Yeah. This is a time, number one, clearly, we're still fighting. We're still fighting now, for that matter. She started out singing the blues, ended up singing the blues, but her blues was raw dog. Okay. In a time where people wore their dresses to a certain length and made sure to be modest in church every Sunday and all of these things. And it wasn't just the institution of church. It was mandatory that you had to be a certain kind of way, particularly in an industry like the music industry. She wasn't light-skinned. She wasn't propped up. Her titties was hanging comfortably.
Come on, hanging titties.
She wasn't light-skinned. Okay? She was sassy and assy.
She had some gold in her mouth, didn't she? I was like, this is
Gold teeth. Yes, gold teeth. Yes.
She wasn't a soft woman either, meaning she didn't say, okay, I'll do whatever you say. No, she was a fist fighter and a tongue lasher. And she didn't play any kind of games. This woman wrote a song called Prove It On Me. Okay, Prove It On Me. Mm-hmm. She apparently got caught in this orgy at her house in 1925. And it was popular news that she had was out there doing what she was doing. So she wrote a song called Prove It On Me, okay? And the lyrics say, they said, I do it, ain't nobody caught me. Sure gotta prove it on me. Went out last night with a crowd of my friends. They must have been women, because I don't like no men.
Ooh, yes.
Gangster. Okay?
Yes, Ma.
Gangster. Y'all know who Angela Davis is, right?
You better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she's an activist and a scholar, just in case you don't know. And she said that song was the reason for the whole lesbian cultural movement in the 70s.
Wow.
I wonder what happened in between them years.
They're doing a movie about her. Netflix is doing a movie about Ma Rainey. Mm-hmm. It is based off of the play that August Wilson did, right. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Right. It's interesting too, Jill. It's funny. Well, we got an opportunity to kind of watch it, and I was like, it makes me want to go back to the play because, and I think you guys have both seen the play.
I've never seen the play. No, okay. I've never seen the play.
So let me ask you then, Jill, the character that Chadwick plays, Letty, I believe.
Levi.
Was he the central character in the actual August Wilson play?
It depends on who's directing.
Okay.
The way I see it, it all depends on who's directing. I saw it as well, and that performance by Chadwick.
Yeah.
Good. Oh. See, it's that I'm a firm believer. I don't think that I can sing everything. I've always said this. I have to write it it has to come through me in a way in order for me to be able to relate the information. Other than that, it's just a song, and I'm not really a singer. You know, we gonna argue about these things for some people. It's okay. But it was what was written. It's that the August Wilson of it all.
Okay.
It's the August Wilson of it all. What he put down on paper.
My God.
Of those lines. And how, as an actor, you're required to sing everything. August Wilson, when he writes Us, it's all music from the beginning to end. And Viola Davis played Ma Rainey.
You know what, though? Can I just take a moment for an elder? Can we also give some love to Glenn motherfucking Turman? Glenn motherfucking
Child, listen, I'm so glad you said it because it was burning in my soul. Listen, the flowers, the bouquets, the shrubbery.
He's been doing the work. Like
the small trees.
Yes.
Listen, no, let me say this. There was a moment, I cried many times throughout this movie. Many, many times. But the first of the many times I cried was in the very beginning, and not to give any spoilers, but there's a moment in the beginning of the movie where Black men are talking. Woo. And if ever you want to fall in love with Black men, even deeper than you are already, this is the moment that will get you there. The way they laughed and the way they joked with one another and how they would go from the serious to the funny to the painful to the
painfully emoting.
To see Black men exchange these complex and nuanced moments with each other was everything that I ever needed in my life. It was everything.
That's
because
huge.
I don't think enough of this is shown of our men.
I'm going to second that emotion, honey.
Yeah.
Enough of that is not shown of our men.
And their vulnerabilities, because that's what we saw too, right? Like even when they were trying to macho up against each
even
other.
in the midst.
That's what I'm saying. Like so as they were machoing up against
Yes.
each other, it's like, hold up, brother, let me tell you who I am. And then in that moment, after I tell you who I am, that's when you change your ways because you're like, shit. Like, yeah, we tried. Like man.
And that powerfully strong presence of Ma Rainey.
That loomed over the whole thing.
That loomed over everything.
It's almost unbelievable that she had she was so free. You know what I mean? Like the way that she spoke to those white men who, you know, ran her record label and what she refused to do and the way that she understood it, how she understood that she was a tool and all they wanted was her voice. And she was going to make sure she got everything that she wanted because they was going to get everything they wanted.
That's right.
But that commentary is important whether she said the words or not. That commentary is important because it is still relevant.
Yeah.
It is still truly relevant, particularly about Black women and Black women who have a lot of agency around their sexuality, even in today's music industry. You think about a Cardi B, you think about a Megan Thee Stallion, you think about a Lizzo. All of these different people, there's a very real conversation still happening, you know, around
women's sexuality, Black women's
in entertainment and music particularly.
Yeah.
And women being able to, you know, dictate business-wise how that's going to go and how that's going to be sold and how it's going to be done.
Yeah.
I just, baby.
So don't think you were the first young women.
No, you were not.
We must take this moment to shout out Millie Jackson.
Come on.
It must be done.
Yeah.
It must be done.
Lyrically, her presence on stage, the growl in her voice, all of it. Grace
Yes.
Jones.
I mean, LaBelle.
Yes.
Yes, LaBelle.
LaBelle.
Yes. There is this, it's a fear of our sexuality that drives me absolutely insane. It drives me crazy. You're allowed to be smart. You can be smart. Okay. But I remember, I'm thinking Angela Yee. That's not her name. Angela Rye.
Right. Mm-hmm. Angela Rye. Politics. Mm-hmm.
Yes, politics, Angela Rye. When people realized that she was a hottie,
they didn't know what to do with it.
They didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, you should hear her stories of having to shut niggas down. Like having to
it's crazy to me.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to be, or it's not so much that you're not allowed, it's just uncomfortable for people when you allow yourself to be all of yourself. You have to pull back in some way, shape, or form.
How dope are we, though?
And particular for her, because she is mixing together two things that people's brains are exploding. It's like, oh, I talk about politics and religion because she's also a very devout Christian. Talk about politics and religion, and I'm about to put this dress on and show y'all how snatched this waist is and give y'all this glamour.
Mm-hmm. You interviewed her. I remember that night.
And she was dynamic then and has been dynamic since. But to see how things have moved forward for her. But like I said, pulling together those two worlds for people, they might be able to handle it in music. But if you
handle it in music.
But y'all know
they pretend to handle it in music.
Yeah, they pretend to handle it in music.
There's been more discussions about WAP in the last, 4 months. I remember when I first heard WAP, I was taken aback by the lyrics, quite frankly. I wasn't ready myself.
Why did it feel different than any random Lil' Kim song? I'm just using Lil' Kim as an example. Like, why did you feel?
I remember being excited by Lil' Kim. I think it had a lot to do with the wordplay.
We need Kim.
I think we should. Yeah, I think it had a lot to do with the wordplay. I'm also a reader, a writer, and I like wordplay, and I think that there was a lot of it there with Lil' Kim.
Yeah,
I didn't feel that necessarily from WAP. Everything seemed to be pretty straightforward.
Right. Just come get this wet ass pussy.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Like, Kim was pretty straightforward to it. She was like, I'm going to watch my stories while you eat my pussy. That's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, but it also painted a picture.
So you basically are saying something about lyrics, seriously. Like somebody is obviously a better lyricist to you in a sense of just a writer.
There's a reason why I gravitated towards it. I just, because with Kim, I saw pictures. And for WAP, I heard words to lyrics. I mean, to a rhythm.
Yeah. Wow.
Don't get your feelings hurt and all in your back.
Oh, my feelings.
I'm not talking about you.
Because it's other people listening. We hope it's other people listening, Asia. We hoping it's other people.
Right.
You guys are listening sometimes. But that's the way I feel. I'm a lyricist fan. I like that.
I feel that.
Put together in a way. I mean, I wrote Crown Royal. I thought it was visual. I could be wrong.
It is.
I could be wrong. Your hands on my hips, pull me right back to you.
Put me right. I'm sorry. I have a whole
my
dance
favorite
where I
part is when it's my part is when it's you.
I don't know that part.
It's not. You don't say you. It's like you.
No. I don't know that part.
I don't know what you say when you say I flip shit something. Then I say a lip dick.
Hip dip, and I'm twisted in your hands and your lips and your tongue tricks. And you're so thick.
Yeah, that sounds better than lip dip.
It's nasty.
It's very.
The bottom line is the song is nasty.
It's very.
However, yes, it is woven together in a lyrical little meal that is fantastical.
And sometimes
However,
we just like what we like, because I doubt anybody on this line was like, I cannot stand. I'm not saying you can lick it, you can stick it, you can taste it. I'm talking every drip drop. Don't you waste it. Like that was some hot shit when it came out. That was hot.
Whose rhyme was that?
That was Akinelli. Put it in your mouth, in your motherfucking mouth.
I wasn't there for that.
You wasn't here for that.
I'm gonna tell you something funny though.
For that,
I was late to the Kim train. I was actually late to the Lil Kim train when it first came out. I was a little taken aback. I got slightly.
It was a lot.
I got slightly United Methodist when I heard it. You know what I'm saying?
Come on, man. Dreams of fucking R&B dick. What?
But listen, I was late. When I first got there, I wasn't ready. Okay? It was a lot for me. Yeah. Okay? As I got older, I was like, okay, Kim is on something. But also, too, further down the line, when I got to other songs, her radio hits, the radio hits, I was like, boom. But I had to work up to listening to the album versions. I will not lie. I had to work up to it. But again, if we're raising young women these days to honor these women, these iconic figures within this industry, and we know that we're at, auntie age around this time, and we have other young girls young women who are coming into this business, we have to offer them the space, an evolved space, a space that says that you no longer have to fight this same fight to be yourself and be who you are. And I never forget, Chris Rock talked about how, he was this world famous comedian and he lived next door to a dentist. He's a fucking dentist. And that, white folks get a chance to be mediocre.
Right.
Everybody is not going to necessarily have the same level of access to that kind of lyrical prowess. You know what I mean? But they do have an audience and they do have an artistic voice.
For some reason, for some reason, if I say anything, it's a speaking out. I'm speaking out against something or other.
Right.
I'm not speaking out. I don't have any problem at all with why.
You on your earthy perch somewhere. That's what they say. They say you on your earthy perch somewhere. Just
Somebody
pointing
said
fingers.
That?
No, I made that. I made that shit up. It was just a translation of what I think.
Enough. I mean, I guess there are people that think that.
There are people that think that. Yeah.
That's fine. I don't know what to tell you.
I'm a whole person.
I really am.
WHOLE.
WHOLE.
That's not how Ma Rainey would have said that, but all right, that's fine.
Listen, I'm a whole bitch, motherfucker.
Yes, bitch, yes.
I love it.
That's what it would have been had she been speaking to anybody.
Yes.
She was all of herself. She allowed herself to be herself. She was not afraid of those folks that were trying to put her in boxes or confine her to anything. And a lot of black people did not like her.
I'm glad you said that, because I wondered, thinking here, like, in retrospect, we can all have this kind of level of respect, but like, if she was to come out right now, where would we be on the side of the coin? Because like I told you, I was slow to the Kim train.
Yeah.
I was slow to the Billie Holiday train.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Hey,
different strokes.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how would she be received?
Lady Sings the Blues before I actually saw, except before I heard of Billie Holiday music.
But that's fair. I think that's some 80s baby shit, but yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't catch on until what that was until I got my feelings hurt. Once I got my feelings hurt and listened to Billie Holiday, I was like, oh, I see what this is. Yeah, but I didn't get it until then. Yeah, I think we're always going to end up in some kind of auntie position when it comes to songs like WAP, I have to bring that up again. I just feel like we're always going to come up with something that people are going to feel like there's a judgment or an auntie thing happening. I just like what I like,
I also try to keep aware of the steady evolution of sexuality in media, because I always use the whole thing of like, at some point when Marvin Gaye came out with Sexual Healing, motherfuckers was like, what? No, that's too much. You gotta turn that down. So now I'm like, here we are 40 years later. What the fuck do I expect? We are 20 years after Lil' Kim. Yeah, wet ass pussy. That's about right.
Wow, we are 20 years after Lil' Kim.
And
Yes.
and it's always fun and games until you hear a 3-year-old singing it.
Yeah.
I don't ever want.
You be like, oh yes, ladies. So you be at.
I have some songs on my next project that I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, no, we know. Give it. Is it next level Crown Royal? Because we here for that. You got to evolve. You got to keep going.
Listen, at this age, Nasty J.ill is the only J.ill I'm interested in.
How about that?
I need Nasty J.ill consistently in my life.
Unless you got a "You About to Lose Your Job" remix, because I've been waiting for some singer to do that for me. But that's fine, whatever.
A remix is not needed. The original is a classic.
It is. She is. She kills it. She does.
Classic.
An iconic woman. I'm just joking.
Because you trifling. When she hit the trifling part, that's when I'm out. She called it trifling.
What you thinking, Jill, over there?
I was thinking of some more iconic women in this music industry.
Susan DePass. Oh, sorry.
Oh, wow.
We're talking about women that make change,
I've heard that name damn near my whole life. I've heard that name my whole life.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw Beyonce in the hat.
Yeah.
That is absolutely as she should be.
It should be fine.
Listen, I've never seen anybody anywhere work harder than that lady. Ever. I know, musicians that work with her, and that level of business, that level of professionalism. I every time I've ever seen her perform anywhere, I get chill bumps. I'm stuttering. See, look at me.
She's taking that Diana Ross formula next level.
It's amazing. She's amazing. Amazing. And she's introduced so many different kinds of music and different kinds of visuals that are healthy.
Shit. And every time I see Chloe and Halle, I thank her.
So
I think what she has done is she has kind of mixed together what used to be the pop trifecta and put it into one artist. Madonna was known as a chameleon, where she would figure out what was going on in the underground and bring it to the mainstream.
Yeah,
Beyonce has done that consistently. Then Michael Jackson was a person who brought just the dynamics of stage performance and dance into his artistry beyond just the fact that he was an amazing singer and everything. And she has been able to the Michael Jackson mentality. I mean, she's taken that to the very next level in my opinion, humbly.
Yeah.
And then you talk about just straight flat foot singing.
Oh,
that part. But you were saying earlier, Jill, about
that
the
straight
differences.
flat foot singing.
She both. Like, how you both?
Thrice.
We're gonna end up forgiving ourselves at times. We're gonna keep forgiving ourselves as we continue, because we're gonna say the wrong thing sometimes, and it's wrong because we're trying to advance past it. So when you know that something is beige, you don't want to keep calling it white. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. You want to learn what it is and then move towards that. Move towards the truth, or move towards a place where people can feel happy and healthy and seen. And I certainly want you to have all of your sexuality. I certainly want you to be all of you. I do. What else is there? I'm super proud of these women that they've never been doing it for me. They did it because that's where the thing came from. That's who they were. Yeah. It's so much better to go ahead and be who you are.
Yeah.
That is the pathway to being iconic, is it not?
Yeah. What is my phone says? Small minds can't comprehend big spirits. To be great, you have to be willing to be mocked, hated, and misunderstood. Stay strong. There it is. That's the end.
The mic on the floor? Is the mic on the floor?
The mic is on the floor.
How do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
What's up, everybody? I'm Eves, a producer on the show, and it's resource time. Okay, so we have a lot today. J.ill would like to point you to queerculturalcenter.org, which has information on the importance of Ma Rainey. You can check out the Netflix film Ma Rainey's Black Bottom as well. And for the love of all that is Black and beautiful, please read or go see an August Wilson play if you ever have the chance. And while I'm on that note, go support small theaters, female directors, and emerging actors. And then there's all of the people that J.ill, Aja, and Laya mentioned today. If you don't know about some of these people and groups like Millie Jackson, LaBelle, Kathy Hughes, and Valerie Simpson, go look them up and learn a little bit more about their work if you already do know a little something about them. I'll drop some links in the episode description. Thank you for listening to Jill Scott Presents J.ill, the podcast.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
This podcast is hosted by Jill Scott, Laya St. Clair, and Aja Graydon Dantzler. Its executive producers are Jill Scott, Sean G., and Brian Calhoun. It's produced by Laya St. Clair and me, Eves Jeffcoat. The editing and sound design for this episode were done by Taylor Chacoin.
Listen, you ain't got to look too far for Ashford and Simpson.
Look,
You
just
hear
knock
me?
on wood. Mm-hmm.
Any Motown discography, just check that out.
All I need to get by. You're all I need to get by.
That's the Aretha version.
But she wrote it.
Yep. But that's what I'm
That
saying.
music.
That's iconic. You wrote a song that Marvin Gaye, Diana Ross, and Aretha Franklin all recorded. And all three versions are different. Bye.
J.ill is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.